Good evening, and welcome to Business Building Business, brought to you live each week by the Cosmopolitan Chamber of Commerce. The Cosmopolitan Chamber of Commerce is the oldest minority chamber in the United States. We've been around Chicago for a lot of years with a rich history. And basically, we are business advocates. We are here for technical assistance for small businesses, whether it's a thought, you're thinking about it, or to establish businesses. And speaking of established businesses, our guest today is Mr. Matthew Cooper. He is the CEO and president of Community Insurance Center, a division of Inner City Underwriting Agency. Mr. Cooper is going to share a great new initiative in collaboration with the Cosmopolitan Chamber of Commerce. But before that, I just want to talk to Mr. Cooper about his role at the Chamber. You are a board member, a former president of the board. So tell us what your role is now and what's going on at the Cosmopolitan Chamber of Commerce.
Well, thank you, and thank you for this opportunity to speak to you and your audience this evening. The Cosmopolitan Chamber of Commerce is, as everybody knows, Chicago's oldest African American cosmopolitan chamber. We date way back to when we date back to the time of Booker T. Washington time, when the chamber was actually started as a branch of the National Negro Network, and from that we became the chamber. We remain active and viable to this day. What we're doing now is we're moving into the technology age. We're fully embracing the 21st century, and we are moving towards bringing our members along in that sphere in terms of trying to move forward into to the 21st century. And my role is basically to lead that. I stepped down as chairman of the chamber. That job is now held by Mr. Bruce Washington, and I'm essentially in charge of membership and the special initiative that we're going to talk about tonight.
And the name of that initiative?
We call it the Contractor Collaborative Network, and essentially what we're doing is we're putting together a cloud-based network for construction contractors to promote basically their growth, their cooperation, and commerce among themselves. And the network is real exciting, and we'll talk a little bit about the ins and outs of it tonight.
So if I'm running a construction company and someone tells me, the cloud, what does that mean to me? And how is that going to help me with my bottom line?
That's a good point. Essentially, what we're trying to do is utilize the cloud for the purpose of basically making taking contractors who work in different parts of the city and in different areas and facilitating them basically communicating with each other. The other thing we're using it as a basis by which we can start teaching contractors, particularly small contractors, in how they can do business and really bridge that digital divide that exists between a lot of small businesses. And I know that term digital divide has been overused a lot, but it rings true primarily with small construction companies.
Well, Mr. Cooper, let's go back. First of all, what's the cloud?
Okay. Basically, there's a lot of ways of describing what the cloud is, but essentially, you take a computer that's in your office right now, that's at your desktop, and it has a certain amount of computing power. Large corporations, and the cloud we're using is basically the Microsoft Azure network. Large corporations or technology companies have basically put together server farms in various parts of the country, and because of the speed of the internet these days and its ability to deliver mass amounts of data in very short periods of time across wide expanse of land, you can now have access to massive amounts of computing power just from your desktop. Essentially, that's what the cloud is. It's not a bunch of computers that are basically physically located in the cloud, but it's computer farms that are maintained by companies that have a great deal more sophistication than your smaller company. But essentially, though, it's creating a great equalizer. Now, small companies can actually access massive amounts of computing power, acquire the amount that they need specifically for their business, and then use it. So if you know what you're doing, you have the ability to do as much or even more than what your large competitors can do.
So what if I don't know what I'm doing?
That's where we come in at with the Chamber. The Chamber is going to provide a lot of training, and essentially we're going to set up a cloud network for small contractors who can then use it to access information that the Chamber will be making available exclusively to its members and members of its network, and then allow the contractors to basically do business together. For example, you're a contractor, okay, and you're a small contractor, and one of the things we're going to do on it is we're going to maintain contract opportunities. We're going to set up a library of contract opportunities for you. So if you are a member of our cloud network, you would then be able to go on, identify the contract opportunity. So it's a contract with the city, and you are a contractor of a certain trade, but this then requires to have some other trades. Each member of the network has a profile that you can almost do a virtual Google search of it. You identify the contractor member who has the trade skill set that you need, instant messaging through the system, set up an opportunity to review the plans, and decide whether or not you're going to collaborate together. The network allows you to set up a workspace, an electronic workspace. So visualize this. In a normal business environment or normal office, everybody has their desks and you have conference rooms. And so when you and I are working together, we're working together in a business, and there's a project that we want to work to, we would probably reserve some space in the conference room to have a meeting, review the plans, go over the plans. You can do all that now over an electronic network. So essentially what would happen is you identify the plans, you identify who you want to work with, you set aside some space on the network whereby you store the files, and everyone goes and works on that electronically, remotely, and then they can contact it. We will also have a number of technical assistance professionals that will be available on the cloud, and therefore you need some assistance in basically reading the plans or getting some feedback. We make available resources for people who can help with that.
Well, speaking of resources, does it cost the contractor to be a part of the this collaborative, or does if they're a paying member of the chamber, are they automatically a member of the collaborative?
We're going to do it two ways. One, if you can either join the chamber and then be, and if you're a contractor, be invited to join the network, or if you're a contractor that we invite. Now again, this is a collaboration between Community Insurance Center Division of Inner City Underwriting and the Cosmopolitan Chamber of Commerce. So we're going to make it available both to clients of inner city underwriting, particularly clients who are in the area of bonding. As you know, Inner City has the program called the Small Contractor Bridge Program. The Small Contractor Bridge Program, this in collaboration with the Chamber is really kind of an extension of that program. In that program, we provide a lot of technical assistance to small contractors who are looking for assistance in obtaining bonds. And through that, we have been successful in helping contractors bond over $25 million in projects. We've got a number of contractors that started out with us bidding on small jobs as low as $15,000, $20,000, who now are able to bid and bond jobs up to $1 million.
Well, so, give us a little history about the whole bond process, and why did you decide to come up with this small contractor bridge program?
It's something I think that's kind of consistent with what our company does. Our company works in terms of finding ways in which we can, essentially identify where insurance and surety bonding poses a challenge to different communities. We look to see where it is a barrier for economic development, and when we identify that there are lack of, or when a community is being underserved by the insurance or the surety market, we look to try to find ways to provide solutions. That's kind of what our company does, what we're known for.
So basically, the initiative, the collaboration, as well as the small contractor bridge program, the bottom line is economic development in the community. And I know as a company, like you just said, that's a big focus of yours too.
Well, that's the primary focus of the Cosmopolitan Chamber of Commerce, going all the way back to its origins. Economic development, primarily within the African American community, because again, the Cosmopolitan Chamber is the oldest African American chamber in the city of Chicago, and many believe it's like the second oldest in the country. So that is the primary focus of what the chamber is about. It is also a significant focus of my company, Inner City Underwriting Agency, particularly in this area with this initiative in terms of working with small, minority-owned, women-owned, DBE-owned construction firms who have difficulty obtaining bonding. We believe that construction is a critical area within our community. And to the extent that we can grow more and more construction companies in our own community, we can also positively impact employment.
Sure.
We believe that dollars that go to small construction companies have a significant multiplier effect within our own community, in that they provide jobs to people in the community. There's a lot of purchases within the community by small contractors, and anything that we can do to help increase the amount of dollars that flows in that will ultimately benefit the community.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds like your company has, it doesn't sound like you're the typical insurance agency. Give us an idea of some of the coverages that you have in place.
Our company is a full-service insurance brokerage firm, and so we do all types of coverages, and we go from small personal lines all the way to large commercial. We deal with complex risk. Again, one of our key focuses primarily is in the area of finding ways in which the industry that we serve impacts economic development, and find ways in which we can remove barriers that may be caused, particularly if a community is not being properly served or being underserved. We believe, I've been actively involved in the chamber since we started our business, because we feel that there's a symbiotic relationship between us and the chamber. So I've been very active in it. And I'm excited about this project because technology is really where we want to be. We really want to find a way in which we can facilitate our members and businesses within our community to conduct commerce with other businesses, as well as businesses that are part of the chamber. And we talk about the cloud. Again, we're going to leverage the benefits of the cloud. We're going to take what many people consider complex technology, break it down, make it as simple as possible, provide broad access to it to our members, overlay good, strong technical assistance, and try to create a really good environment where people can get together.
And that's you talked about making it accessible, but how user friendly is it? The cloud itself. And it looks like we have a caller. Let's see. Caller, are you there?
Yes.
Go ahead. Thanks for calling.
Yes. Good evening.
Hi.
Good evening. I just was searching and ran across. This is very interesting. I wanted to know in the bond issues about the previous administration, the mayoral, in this mayoral, has the bond risen and the contractors from the community has risen, or it stayed stable, or it remains the same as usual?
I'm not quite sure I understand the question. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yes, I mean, have the application of local contractors or community contractors, have they increased in applying for bond issues and maybe in construction, or have they remained the same in past?
Well, that's a good question. Actually, that's a very good question. What we're trying to do is increase the number of contractors who can qualify for bonding. Through our program, again, we've over the last two years, we've helped contractors bond about $25 to $30 million in construction. Those contractors that we've bonded in our program were contractors who would not have been able to obtain a bond had it not existed. And so that's there. What we're hoping through our collaboration with the chamber, through bringing more and more contractors up to speed from a technology standpoint, that we can make that assistance even available to even more contractors.
And maybe it might be helpful if you would share what are the steps, to getting a bond.
Well, there's a lot of steps usually, and those steps have been really the barriers for most contractors. Mm-hmm. In trying to qualify for a bond, it's just like trying to qualify for bank credit. And as you a lot of small businesses know, bank credit is very difficult to mm-hmm. obtain as well. Mm-hmm. And so what we're doing on the bond area is we're putting less emphasis on the financials and more emphasis on the capability of the contractor to do the work. Oh, okay. And so that's really kind of the focus of what we do. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, you got to have some sort of financial standing, mm-hmm. And you've got to have the basis by which you can then grow your finances. Mm-hmm. So our program really is about trying to get contractors in at a certain level, then helpfully work with them so that as they are successful in bonded projects, mm-hmm. they can continue to grow and get larger and larger bonded projects. And in the course of doing that, improve their core competency in terms of their ability to do the work that they're supposed to do, mm-hmm. as well as an ability to manage and administer their business.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mr. Cooper, I think that you're being very modest. I understand the Contractor Bridge program has been very successful, meaning it has helped a lot of small businesses, and some have even graduated from the program.
We've got contractors we've had contractors who used this for their first bond, and that's all they needed. Mm-hmm. We've had contractors that come back 1 or 2 bonds. Mm-hmm. It's for we provide a service to try to meet a contractor where they are, mm-hmm. And then try to find a way to help them.
And are most of your bonds, they secure them for government projects? That's
where bonds usually are required. Mm-hmm. Some background. If you plan to do any kind of public sector construction and you're planning to do it as a prime contractor, then you are required to post a bond. Mm-hmm. Now that's one of the biggest obstacles to contractors becoming primes in public sector.
And what's a prime? Some people may not know.
Okay, good. That's the point. But if you're a contractor out there, you should know what a prime is. But a prime is the person who actually is that has the contractor to manage the project. So if the city of Chicago or the state of Illinois or Illinois Tollway or the Chicago Public School System, Chicago Housing Authority, any one of a number of public agencies, if they put out a contract and they directly contract with you as the contractor, then you are the prime contractor. Mm-hmm. And if, as the prime contractor, the laws of the state, of the city, of the federal government require that any contract over a certain amount must be secured by a bond. Mm-hmm. And that bond is there to protect the taxpayer dollars that are used for that project. Now, that's been a big barrier. The other barrier, though, quite frankly, is not only the fact that their contracts, it's the size of the contracts.
I see.
More and more, increasingly, public entities are going to having larger and larger contracts, and therefore it's limiting the number of companies who can actually bid on it. We are strong advocates in trying to find ways in which public agencies can break the contracts down so they're digestible.
So if a contractor is successful in securing a bond, then you give them the bond, and then that's it. You don't see them anymore, or
No.
you
Our program
develop
has
a relationship with them?
Yeah, our program is really about being a partner with the contractor to make sure that they can grow. A number of issues come up in the construction site. We provide what's called contract oversight. We provide assistance in a lot of different ways, and so and then what we're hoping is we can automate that assistance through the launching of the Contractor Collaborative Network. We strongly encourage everybody to keep an eye out on the Cosmopolitan Chamber's website, which is cosmochamber.net, and we will have more specific information about the launch of our Contractor Collaborative very soon.
So as a small business person, you're trying to, those days are over where they have to go to a meeting, come to your office, all these meetings, and what small business person has time for meetings so they can sit in their own office at their computer and share all this information, get all this training, get the information about, available bids out there.
That's true. That's really what the technology, really taking advantage of the technology. Essentially what the cloud says is that the data and the information stays in one place. You move from place to place, but wherever you are, you now have access to that data. You have access to your information, you have access to the applications you need to manage that data. Everything is available to you wherever you are, as long as you have a live internet connection. And so we're saying that you don't have to, again, that's right, the travel time and all that. We're saying we're going to facilitate instant communication among members, direct contact with technology assistance, all those kind of situations.
Well, is this program unique here in Chicago? Or?
It is one that we're starting in Chicago. The Chamber and our organization also has plans of collaborating with a similar organization in St. Louis, and then hopefully from there branch out into other cities as well.
Okay. And how long has your business been around?
We've been around 21 years.
Oh my. And
but the Chamber has been around 70 some years. So,
for sure.
So
yes.
we're little kids. And actually, I'm sorry, I take that back. Community Insurance Center itself has been around more than 50 years. Inner City Underwriting, which acquired Community Insurance Center last year, it's about 21 years.
And Community Insurance Center has its own history. I understand some notables here in Chicago
yes, we do.
are part of it. Tell us about that.
Our founder is Ralph Metcalf, and then followed by Mr. Milton Moses. The name Community Insurance Center stands for the fact that we are the place in the community for insurance and risk management, and actively working to find ways to make sure that we deliver the best that the insurance industry has to offer to the communities that we serve. That's what Community Insurance Center stands for.
And so I know and you do special events.
We do all. If it ends in insurance, we do it. That's the bottom line for us. So whatever you're trying to purchase and it ends in insurance, we are the place to call. We have experts. We have people with tons of experience doing it.
Well, Mr. Cooper, thank you so much for being our guest, and we hope that you come on our show again as the collaborative network expands. And to all of our viewers, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you again next week. Business Building Business, brought to you by the Cosmopolitan Chamber of Commerce. Good night.